Islamophobic but anti-Semitic events around the country and in the area too. Because we're all Washingtonians in an area, and we're saying we're going to stand up to bigotry, say no to bigotry. We're going to stand up for the other, Jewish and Muslim, and others as well. We're going to focus on Jewish people and Muslim people. And anytime there's an Islamophobic or anti-Semitic event or attack, we're going to stand up for each other because this is ridiculous. This is 2017. We're not going to take this anymore, no matter where it comes from, whether it's the White House or here.
One of the major interfaith bridge builders in the Washington metropolitan area, and wherever she goes, she represents the beauty and the wisdom of Islam, and she expresses always from the heart and sees what we need to do to make changes in this world. And so I want to thank, first of all of Dr. Sahar Khamis' students for coming out today. This shows how influential she has been getting the students to actually come out onto the street to join this a rally, we call it. It's going to be for unity and for peace. Go ahead and please speak, Dr. Sahar.
You are making it hard for me to speak now. I feel like crying. There are tears in my eyes now. Thank you so much. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Means peace be upon you, right? Shalom alaikum is the same message, right? So Hebrew and Arabic are two very close languages. Is this a coincidence? It is not a coincidence because this sign says Muslims and Jews are cousins, right? They're first cousins. They're very close. They've been tied by history for many, many centuries. And we should not let political divisions just tear us apart. I also want to give a shout out to Dr. Jane Glenn. Dr. Jane, raise your hand, please. Dr. Jane is a renowned professor of peace education and peace studies. That's the go-to person and expert if you want to learn more about peace. And
tell us, how has this climate that's been pervasive in the nation today affected you, your community here, your student culture here at the University of Maryland?
Separatists ideals want
Thank you very much.
I have some family members who are Muslim and friends too, so I think it's great to see the two kind of blend together as I'm learning in class, as I'm seeing out here.
And so, as a student here at the University of Maryland, there's been some incidents, with the swastikas in the past months. What do you think about all that? And how does that kind of fit into this sort of event that you're
Here on campus?
Okay.
Because there's so much negativity out there when in person there's so many positive events happening like this. And just yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a little stand where talk to a Muslim sign, and where there were like Muslim girls outside, and you could go up and talk to them. That was
exactly what you're doing about Iraq and water. Exactly. That's my thing.
not hate, spread love, not hate,
not hate,
spread love,
not hate, spread love, not hate, spread love, not hate.
It's Gold Room and it's number 2168. That's the number.
Doing our Red Hummus Not Hate campaign today.
Yeah, Santos. And if you could come to Independence Avenue.
Good to see you. Here yet?
I have not.
So it's good?
Yeah, it's good.
That when we stand together, we can end all forms of hate.
Oh, look, and there's Rabbi Chuck Feinberg. Thank you, Rabbi, for coming. He is representing the Interfaith Action for Human Rights that is helping to sponsor this also.
But our communities are concerned, are even frightened in certain cases. There have been some very ugly things. So we need hate crimes legislation. That's really what we're here to say. There has been, and you're going to hear about it from a few friends in a couple of minutes, there have been hate crime legislation introduced by Representative Don Beyer, a couple of really important bills, and also by Representative Barbara Comstock, also of Virginia, Republican of Virginia, and Representative Debbie Dingell, a Democrat of Maryland. So a bipartisan hate crimes resolution. Those bills none of those bills have gone anywhere yet, and we're very, very concerned about it. That's the message that we want to give.
And they were in the dorms. And when they saw what was happening, and they saw that these baton-wielding and torch-led neo-Nazi protesters were going to the Jefferson statue, they all left their dorm rooms. There were about 25 or 30 of them. And they went down and they surrounded the statue of Jefferson. Okay? And there was no actual discussion between the two sides. That's just one of the many problems of hate crimes, of course, that there's no discussion that takes place. But the way that I read the conversation subtextually that was taking place was this, that the white supremacists were saying Jefferson was a slave master, and he'd be on our side today, marching for white supremacy, a restoration of white supremacy in America. And the young people who went out there in their pajamas and their sweatpants to try to defend the honor of their university and the statue of Jefferson were saying, well, we know Jefferson was a slaveholder, and he knew he was a slaveholder, and he knew it was wrong. He said, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just. And at numerous points in his writing, he said that he knew that slavery would have to end in the United States. But the young people went out there, were standing up, not for all of the particular personal decisions that Jefferson made in his life. They were standing up for the principles that he wrote into the Declaration of Independence. Virginia, like America, would be for the Christian and the Jew and the Mohammedan, all. Jefferson, of course, owned a Koran and wanted to make very clear that religious toleration in America included Muslims and Jews. And so did, of course, President George Washington, who sent his famous letter to the congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, saying that here our government will give no order to, or no sanction to bigotry. Despite the hate crimes that we're all dealing with around the country, how magnificent is it that we live in a country where people who, in other parts of the world, might be at war with each other, might be committing violence against each other, here are spreading hummus together, here can participate in communities where all of us come together. I'm going to say a word about the legislation, but I don't want anybody to lose the absolute magic of what has happened in our country and what's happening in our communities, especially in Maryland, which is such a great leader in this way, bringing people together, overcoming stereotypes and suspicion, teaching our children to love and to have respect for people from all faiths, from all walks of life. So we've got a couple of bills which I know you're helping us out on. One is one that I'm co-sponsoring with my colleague, Mr. Krishnamurthy, who's from Illinois. This is to set up a dozen-member hate crime commission to study what's actually going on in the country and to develop what the patterns are. Of course, oftentimes hate crimes are reported as kind of eccentric, episodic things, when in fact we know they are organized, they are mobilized, they're directed oftentimes by organizations which want to destabilize communities and inject poison into our neighborhood. So anyway, we have legislation with more than 50 co-sponsors already to create this hate crimes commission, and then there was also the bill 3980, which has been introduced by my colleague Representative Byers, called the No Hate Bill. I'm sorry, it's HR 1566. with Don Byer from Virginia, and I'm a co-sponsor on that one too, and that's to make funding available to state and local law enforcement to monitor, to resist, to prosecute hate crimes, and to generally beef up legal enforcement against hate violence, which is so destructive for everybody. So thank you for your support on all those things, and thank you for standing up in a very tough and dark time for what is best in America. It makes me very proud that so many of you come from Maryland to be part of this.
The important piece of legislation, the No Hate Act.
It was already unconstitutional, but if there was a question, we wanted to make sure it on the U.S. House, because it's not a bill that we wanted to reintroduce, to be honest, but it's a bill that we felt we had to. Reporting system, which in any community, you really want your police to have the best tools, right?
We come from the earth, Adam from earth, and from Adam comes all of these wonderful, beautiful, diverse expressions of this human life, all from the common family of Adam. And as such, if there's only one human type, and we have souls, there's only one human soul. We are hoping to speak to our souls. Love is natural and closer to the human heart than hate.
But I will go back to Abraham, our father for Christians, Jews, Muslims, and in our Jewish tradition, Abraham is associated with the quality of chesed, what we call compassion, that both can overflow in love and hospitality. A melody, a song which builds on that notion. The words in Hebrew are Olam Chesed Yibaneh. A world of compassion will be built. I will build this world from love. You will build this world from love. If we build this world from love, then God will build this world from love.
Animals, flora and fauna, the stars, all that, the stars and the sun, and the moon are all created in one day. But when it comes down to the sixth day, it just says that one man, one woman was created. And they said the point of that is that no one can say that my father or mother is greater than you. That ultimately, humankind is all related to each other. We all have the same father and mother. We are all sisters and brothers or cousins.
We are in our 40th year Interfaith Conference, Metropolitan Washington. We came about because interfaith dialogue in the 70s in this area was mostly among Christians, and then they reached out to Jews, and then they realized, 1978, that they had no contact with the Muslim community. And Father Ralph was one of the people that made this happen in 1978. We are now happily much broader than the families that come from Ibrahim, Sarah, and Hajar. And that would include the Eastern faith, Buddhist, Hindu, Jain. We have other communities, Latter-day Saints, and Baha'i. So this is the broad connection for interfaith activity in this community.
But 2 years ago, I came across a video about this group going around in the Maryland, Virginia area spreading hummus, not hate. And I pushed that video out to people because so many people are looking for ways to do something about that hate. So as you go on to your next stop, make sure you take video of that, because what you do in this moment goes beyond you. People like me can see what you're doing today and give it to other communities to inspire them and give them hope in a moment after they've been subjected to a hate crime. So thank you very much as a professional for all of you taking time out of your day, out of your schedule, to show the people that organize things like Charlottesville that there are more of us, and we will do so many more events than they can ever do, that one day, very soon, America will remember that we are about compassion and ideals and not about the ugliness we've seen the last few years. Thank you.
Some of the things that we've been seeing coming into the Adams Center are delegates from overseas, a lot of people from European countries, the Middle East, African countries,
And a lot of the major things that they come and ask us about is how we are able to connect with people of different faiths, how we are able to teach these values to our children, how we are able to work on different programs with government agencies throughout the Northern Virginia, Washington area. I know that this country needs immigration. This country is built on immigration. You know, even from an economic point of view, when we look at how that affects the country, it's in the billions. When we stop students from coming in here, when we stop fellowship students coming here, or researchers, or scientists, or educators from coming into this country, it affects us in many different ways than we actually are able to see.
We are glad to stand together with many others here today against organized hate and white supremacy that is sadly all too prevalent in our country. In my own tradition, I name hate and bigotry as sin and reiterate my baptismal vow to resist evil, injustice, and oppression in whatever forms they present themselves.
There is hatred, let me bring you love. Or Hummus. No, so the beginning of that prayer is by St. Francis, someone that has inspired me in this work. I'm honored to represent Shoulder to Shoulder. Many of you may know Dr. Catherine Osborne, our director. We are an interfaith coalition and organization that brings together faith leaders of all traditions to address anti-Muslim bigotry. We were founded in 2010 by some of the leaders that are here to address this issue, and we continue on, and we are so happy to be a part of this event, and good luck with the rest of your day.
Spread Hummus Not Hate is about being positive. It's not talking about the negative. It's talking about what can we do to create a better world? What can we do to create the beloved community that Martin Luther King was talking about?
Upon his arrival, the people of Medina welcomed him. He was a stranger to them, but they welcomed him. And the people of Medina weren't just the Muslims that had arrived. You know, there were the Christians, the Jews, all people of Medina, of all different, faith and background. And they sung to him, this very beautiful song that is, the eldest song that we have in our faith. It's called Tal'a al-Badru alayna, which, translates into the bright moon rose over us. It's right on the side. Oh, the bright moon rose over us from the valley of Wada, and we owe it to show our gratefulness when the call is for us all.
Packed up the food, everything, put my daughter in the car. All of a sudden, this woman starts honking a horn. I thought, what is she doing? Honking. And the guy said, what's the matter? She said, you forgot your baby. I said, oh my God. I wasn't used to a second
Challenges to being a religious minority in the United States.
More enterprise technology.
No, the bigotry!
I can't stop it. Accompanying
Don't worry, I'm your savior.
So we're Jews and Muslims that love each other, and we have this initiative every year called Spread Hummus Not Hate. And we get on the bus and we spread hummus and not hate.
Yeah, I like that.
And we sing peace songs.
I get that a lot. So
Think about it, the kind of damage that you may be doing to this beautiful experiment that's lasted 250 years of American democracy, to the core values. So,
Yay, very good, Walker.
Hey, God bless you guys. So fear leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And suffering leads to nothing, So, and along that comes anger. So, just bless the Lord. Pray today's a beautiful day, and get your message out there. So, God bless.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Where are we going now?
I don't know where
This weekend, on Sunday, 1,500 Jewish, Christian, Muslim came together in Prince William County, Boyce, and Ed Gillespie and Ralph Norton were there for that event. Rabbi Michael Bozeman, Imam Majid, both spoke at that event. Rafi Ahmed from Baramur.
Still as you call me, deeper still as you call our lungs. So we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your
Before. I can mix them together.
From you, Ira? Is that where she got?
What do you think?
To proactively building bonds of support and friendship between our communities.
Anti-Semitism is the word used to describe the hatred of Jews, and I feel pain that such bigotry inflicts on my Jewish brothers and sisters. Indeed, as a Palestinian, I myself am a Semite, and I take pride in the blood and spiritual relationship that I share with the Jewish community.
Encourages his students to actively participate and take initiative in interfaith events, since he believes it can be a slippery slope, as bigotry against one community can easily turn into bigotry and hatred against another community.
In the Ethics of Our Fathers, Rabbi Judah Hanasi says, "Which is the right path for people to choose for themselves? Whatever is harmonious for the one who does it, and harmonious for humankind." But what is harmonious for humankind? What is the right path to choose?
One of the most well-known messages from the Quran comes from the 13th verse of Surah Hujurat. O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and have made you peoples and tribes, so that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted. Like Jamie, I too ask, what is harmonious for humankind? How can we be the most righteous versions of ourselves?
Divine within us, and that is in every single religion. We're all talking really beyond the ceremonies and the rituals and the traditions. We're talking about love. We're talking about mercy. We're talking about compassion. And that's the most important thing. How do we treat each other? And we need to treat each other with respect and love. And Rebecca, his daughter, came with him. Raise your hand. Let's hear a good, we're going to invite you up here, Dan, so come on up here too, just to be honest with you. So I'm going to let Walter say a few more words about the Greater Washington Muslim Jewish Forum, which is really a coalition that's building with partners like JIDS, Jewish Islamic Dialogue Society, and Dan is also part of the Greater Washington Muslim Jewish Forum. So let me please give you to Walter and then to Parvez.
Thank you, Andra. God, what a beautiful place. This is just really extraordinary. Yeah, my heart is really full today. I was just thinking that when we started the Greater Washington Muslim Jewish Forum 4 years ago, and the idea was to bring together grassroots Muslims and Jews that would just really step up and build ties of communication and cooperation, you know, peace and understanding. And thank you. And so that's what we've been engaged in. And to come here, well, this is now the second year, but this is really, and then let me say one other thing. We created this event, Spread Hummus Not Hate, with the idea that we were saying we're not going to just meet in our mosques and synagogues. We're going to come out in the streets, or maybe we're going to come out of the closet and tell Greater Washington, hey, we love each other, we're here for each other, and we're going to stand up for each other come what may. And that's what this is all about. But I have to say that this American University thing and what's happening here today is such an amazing expression of it. The two what do you call them? Chaplains were just amazing, and the JSA and MSA. So I'm just kind of in tears at this moment and just so moved by this, and so thankful to Akbar Ahmed, Professor Akbar Ahmed, who just exemplifies everything this is about, and obviously has helped to bring this wonderful spirit here. Keep it going. Let's see, Parvez and then Dan very briefly. Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for coming out. I want to, in the spirit of Fatima and Jamie, who you just heard of, from juxtapose the problem and solution, the things that we can get sad about and things we can get really happy about. So 4 years ago, they did a great job, and I want to emulate that. 4 years ago, we started this Spread Hummus Not Hate bus tour, right? And it was in response at that time to an ad campaign by a hate group, and they've been designated a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, that targeted Muslim people or people who look Muslim, or may ascribe to be Muslim. The Metro bus system, the regular bus system, they were just hateful ads. And what we've seen since then is a spike in the vitriol and the invective. Not just since the presidential election, but every year since then. So this year, we've had 24 mosques that have been vandalized. One was incinerated in Minnesota. We had just across the way in Fairfax, Virginia, near where I live, we had a Jewish community center of Northern Virginia, that was vandalized in 2017. The Jewish community center was vandalized. In New York State, upper New York State, in Philadelphia, in St. Louis, Jewish headstones and Jewish cemeteries were desecrated. I mean, this was terrible. And it's on the rise. So there are problems. And guess what? Who stepped up to stand up for the other when those headstones and those Jewish cemeteries were desecrated? My friend Chris at Bldg in Michigan put together a campaign from his company Launch Good, and he raised tens of thousands of dollars, I think actually hundreds of thousands of dollars, to repair the headstones in those Jewish graves. Muslims raised money to fix those Jewish headstones. There's great positivity that can come from what we see as the...
In fact, earlier today we heard about a group called YROC that started a rapid response program so that when anybody is attacked, no matter what their faith is or their ethnicity, we can respond. And that organization started from Jewish Islamic activity. That came from the Imam Rabbi Summit.
Shalom aleinu, Ojavo Shalom aleinu, Ojavo Shalom aleinu ve'am kulam. Ojavo Shalom aleinu, Ojabo Shalom Aleinu, Ojabo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam, salam, Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, 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 Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع ما دعا لله داع طلعت تدعو علينا من
ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع تشرفت المدينة مرحبا يا خير ذا مرحبا يا خير ذا.
And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm going to send you an email so you can attend this Rabbi Imam Summit. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll go for my paper. I'll interview really cool people and get an A in this class. I went, but I fell in love. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is really cool. I gotta be a part of this forever. I'm gonna do this until I die. And then I got really friendly with them and I asked if I could join their bus ride. And they told me yes. And for like a week after that bus ride, everywhere I went, I was like, peace, salam, shalom. My mom was like, stop.
From the American perspective is that the history of interfaith conversations in the United States does not go back very far. It actually dates back to 1893 to the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago when they held a Parliament of Religions, and for the first time in the United States, representatives from Eastern and Western religions met in conversation. And there were representatives from the Jain, the Buddhist, the Hindu, the Zen, the Baha'i, the spiritualist, the Muslim, the Jewish, and diverse Christian traditions. That Parliament of Religions launched a multitude of interfaith conversations, some of which date their origins to then and still continue today. I see the work here on this campus of Spread Hummus, Not Hate, as a spiritual descendant of those who gathered more than a century ago to prove that interfaith dialogue, conversation, and engagement are essential to building a secure future for all of us. I wish you success. Thank you.
Anna says that she's got 3 reasons to encourage you, and this would mean everyone is welcome, to get involved with the Interfaith Project here at AU. She said the first one is that you are obviously curious people. As students, staff, faculty, when you see student groups sponsor religious celebrations on campus, or you read about religion in our world today in the news, you are people who want to know more about it.
To see that we're all the same. You know, at the end of the day, we all have to learn to love and respect each other. I'm scared of squirrels. So I was like, uh-oh. See, I'm from Queens, New York, and we have a lot of squirrels.
So this is an ayat from the Quran that is one of my favorite ayats, and we're going to have Tutsi do it in Arabic. He's going to do a short version of it, and then I'm going to give a paraphrased translation of it.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق وأنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه.
But it says, each of you has your own holy books. Had God wanted, He would have created you one community, but He did not, to test you. So vie then to live with one another and do good works.
Pray for peace, gonna pray for peace in the Middle East. Down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, gonna pray for peace in the Middle East. Down by the riverside, study ain't war no more. I ain't gonna study a war no more. I ain't gonna study a war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. I ain't gonna study a war no more. Ain't gonna study a war no more. Ain't gonna study a war no more.
So for people that are Muslim here and would like to pray, there is a prayer at the K Center. It's down the sidewalk, and to the left. So he's gonna say it in Arabic and I'll translate in English.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
God is the greatest, God is the greatest.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
God is the greatest, God is the greatest.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
I bear witness that there is no God but God.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except God.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, God.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of God.
حي على الصلاة.
Come to prayer.
حي على الصلاة.
Come to prayer.
حي على الفلاح.
Come to success.
حي على الفلاح.
Come to success.
الله أكبر، الله أكبر.
God is the greatest, God is the greatest.
لا إله إلا الله.
There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, God.
And we continue building these bridges and continue having all your support in making this possible.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.